My dear brothers and sisters, a tragic reality of our world today is that people are building walls. Walls that keep some securely and safely within, and the same walls keep many out. And this is for different reasons, be it religion, be it culture, be it ethnicity, be it race, be it color, be it language. One area where people have built walls that really hurt those kept out is the area of immigrants, refugees and migrants. When it comes to immigrant people, refugees and migrants, people on the move, there seems to be, and this is internationally experienced, a culture of indifference. This is truly tragic and disastrous, where many don't seem to care or want to care for the suffering and pain that the walls have created, keeping refugees, migrants out, depriving them of a decent life, a decent wage, of living as children of God. The 27th of September is World Day for Migrant People. Our Holy Father, Pope Francis, has chosen as the theme for this year's World Migrant Day as forced to flee. Migrant people are forced to flee their homes. Further, they are then forced to flee where they have come to settle for work. And the tragedy is, very few people care. They're just indifferent. It doesn't concern me, it doesn't concern us, so why should I be bothered at all? And in this year, the Holy Father is asking us to pay careful attention to those forced to flee within our country. Internal migration. Why this theme? The Holy Father so beautifully guides us to go back to that first family, the Holy Family, that were forced to flee. The child Jesus with his parents, Mary and Joseph, were forced to flee Bethlehem because of the wall created in the heart and in the mind of Herod, king in Judah. And so they were forced to go as refugees and live in Egypt and go through all the turmoil, disturbance, pain, uncertainty that any refugee and migrant family would have to go through. The Son of God was forced to flee. And the Son of God today continues to be forced to flee as He is present in all those migrant people deprived of the dignity of human life to be lived joyfully as children of God. In our own country, India, we have seen the tragic reality of our migrant people forced to flee during the pandemic. In the month of March, in the month of April, as the country went into lockdown, migrant people in our cities had no daily wage, which means they didn't have rent money to pay, which meant they didn't have food to eat. So they were forced to flee now from the cities in India back to their hometowns. As they came back home, they were not accepted by their own people because they were seen as carriers of COVID-19. Now, as lockdown has eased and they have little to sustain themselves and their families, they need work, so they plan to return to the cities for work to live. And again, they are not wanted because they are interpreted as, seen as carriers of COVID-19, which most often is not true. And so the Holy Father is asking us to be sensitive, to be attentive. There are 4 important verbs which all of us can embrace in breaking down walls that we create very often unknowingly and sometimes knowingly in our hearts and minds. What are these 4 verbs? First, to welcome. Second, to promote. Third, to protect. And fourth, to integrate. Each of us, no matter who we are and where we are invited to welcome in our minds, to welcome in our hearts, to break down the walls that we seem to create that keep the migrants out. Let us welcome them with our hearts and minds, and that will result in the next, promote. Promoting organizations that work for their help, promoting all those groups of people who are assisting them to rehabilitation, to relocate, to find employment and so live. Third, that we do whatever we can to protect their dignity, to protect their rights, to protect them from the harshness sometimes of government and sometimes of local people. And finally, to enable them, to help them, to support them, to integrate themselves into the mainstream wherever they find themselves. We Redemptorists of the Vice Province of Magella have as our primary thrust and missionary apostolate outreach to the migrants. In each of our Redemptorist communities, we are trying in little ways to welcome, to promote, to protect, and to integrate migrant people. And this we do through our fundamentally main organization called Pahunj, which means outreach. So that wherever we are as Redemptorists, we reach out with open hearts that destroy walls in our own lives and enable people to break down their own walls, to welcome, to promote, to protect, and to integrate. As we listen today to migrant people and their stories, let us pray to that Lord who, God though he was, emptied himself and became a migrant, forced to flee. May the same God who is on the side of our migrant people touch our hearts. Enable us with his Spirit to break down walls in our minds and in our hearts. And so do what it takes, no matter how little, no matter how small, to welcome, to promote, to protect, and to integrate migrant people, because in every migrant person is you and me. God bless you.
जय सो, मेरा नाम सुशीला सुरीन है और मैं झारखंड का रहने वाली हूँ। इधर बम्बई में 6 साल से रहती हूँ, चेंबूर घाटला में। तो मैं घर काम करती हूँ। तो लॉकडाउन कर 6 घर में काम करती थी, लेकिन लॉकडाउन का चलते अभी कुछ काम नहीं है। अभी एक काम मिला मुश्किल से। तो मेरा आदमी भी बीमार रहता है, उसको कैंसर है। तो मैं अकेले कमाती हूँ और इलाज के लिए कुछ पैसा ऐसा थोड़ा कमी पड़ रहा है, क्योंकि एक घर का काम में घर नहीं। अभी घर चलाना बहुत मुश्किल हो रहा है, क्योंकि मैं भाड़े में रहती हूँ। तो रूम भाड़ा सब देने को थोड़ा तकलीफ हो रहा है।
अब सबों को जय जीसू। मैं लूसी बारला हूँ, मारोली गांव में रहती हूँ। मैं खाना पकाने का काम करती थी। अभी लॉकडाउन के चलते 7 महीना से मेरा एक भी काम नहीं है। तो मेरे को राशन पानी चलाने के लिए, घर चलाने के लिए बहुत प्रॉब्लम मुश्किल हो रही है। आदमी भी काम नहीं करता है, लड़का भी काम नहीं करता है, मैं अकेली काम करती थी। तो मेरे को अभी बहुत तकलीफ़ में हूँ मैं। आप मेरा दुख तकलीफ़ आप समझ सकते हैं।
जय यीशु। My name is John Suren. I am from Jharkhand. I been living in Chembur for past 20 years, and due to lockdown, my mom has lost her job, and it's hard for me to find a job as well. Due to which I couldn't complete my education and also pursue my dreams. There are several students like me who are suffering the same, and due to lockdown, even I can't get a job so that I could help myself or even my mom. This is my story. This is my pain. Hope you understand my pain. जय यीशु।
जय यीशु। मेरा नाम अजित रेटे है। मैं झारखंड का निवासी हूँ, लेकिन घर की परिस्थिति के चलते मैं मुंबई में नौकरी करने के लिए आया। मैं 2011 को मुंबई में आया। मेरा नौकरी L&T फाइनेंस में लगा था, लेकिन मैं 11 साल उसमें काम किया, लेकिन कोरोना महामारी के बीमार से के चलते अभी मेरा नौकरी रुक गया है, तो वहाँ से मुझे निकाल दिया है। तो मैं 6 महीना से ऐसे ही घर में हूँ। तो इधर उधर नौकरी नहीं मिल रहा है, इधर उधर नौकरी का काम पता कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन नहीं मिल रहा है। मेरा घर में थोड़ा पैसा का प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, इसलिए राशन कहाँ से लेके आऊँगा? पैसा है ही नहीं मेरे घर में। तो मेरा जैसे और कोई कितना लोग ऐसे घर में पड़े हैं, उन लोगों का भी परिस्थिति आप लोग को खुद समझ में आ रहा होगा कि उन लोग कैसे परिवार चला रहे हैं। तो आप लोगों को मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि आप लोग इन परिस्थिति को दूर करने के लिए आप लोग कुछ कर सकते हैं क्या?